Hello, my foodie friends! Welcome back to Foodish, where foodies come to be foodies. I'm your host, Jaron Christie Olson. In today's episode, we're going to explore a fan-asked question for the first time here on Foodish. One of the most dedicated and loving fans of Foodish is Kitty Go Boom. He has asked, how do we make a frozen pizza better? Alright, my friend, not only is this episode for you, but this question has spiraled out of control and is now the official jump down the rabbit hole for Foodish into the world of pizza. From the start of what brand of frozen pizza was about and how to improve them, but all the way down to the bottom of the rabbit hole, making our own pizza from scratch. So where do we begin? Well, for this episode, we're going to skip the history of the pizza, because that'll be better for other episodes. We're going to jump right into which is the best store-bought frozen pizza. I have jumped on this grenade for you, Kitty Go Boom, because let me tell you what, there are some awful frozen pizzas out there. I endure for you bland, choppy, just awful frozen pizza. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To start, I went to my local, shall not be named, so I don't get sued, grocery store to walk down the frozen lane of laziness. You know what I'm talking about. Frozen dinners, frozen lunches, frozen breakfasts, and every frozen thing in between. And before me, entire island of frozen. Fun foodie fact for you, more than 2 billion slices of frozen pizza are eaten in America over a year. The average American family eats pizza at home 30 times a year, or more than once every 2 weeks. In case you want to fact check me, go ahead, ask Google like I did, and everyone knows Google's always right. Anyways, so my strategy for this frozen adventure was to buy the same type, style as I could, and focus on that. Because this episode would be like an hour long if all I did is find every pizza that they have. So I went with cheese only, which I'll explain later, and the average crust type, which appearance by all the selection was to be rising crust. Ooh, marketing. In total, I ended up with 13 different frozen pizzas. And I can tell you that most of them are junk. And they're really not worth spending your money on. From lack of flavor, lack of texture, lack of anything that resembles food that you should be putting in your body. However, there was one that did take the first slot. And it honestly was a surprise for me. Drum roll, please. DiGiorno is the winner of this week's Foodish Stamp of Approval, if we ever have one. So how did I come to this conclusion? I ranked each pizza into 5 categories: taste, texture, appearance, handling, and crust. Now, taste is pretty easy to understand. No one wants to taste pizza that tastes chemically or metally or overly processed. Texture is very important. You want to have a bite that, it envelops your tongue with multiple textures of the cheese, the sauce, any other ingredients, and the bread. And appearance is the first sense that you receive of the food. And if the pizza looks like a hyperactive 3-year-old was throwing the ingredients on it, well, that's not very appetizing. Now, when it comes to handling, this may be a bit harder to understand. So I'm going to tell you a quick little story. There's a local pizza place here in Las Vegas that specializes in brick oven pizzas. And they put a lot of work into those pizzas. Their ingredients are fresh. The sauce and crust are made daily. But when you start to lift the damn slice, all the hard work, flavor, and texture just blazes all over your plate. I want to use my hands, not fork my ingredients into my mouth and then take a bite of bread. So the slice needs to hold together so I can enjoy it all in one bite. And then the most important of importances, the crust. Not only does the crust help you, handle the slice, and not only does it give the pizza a nice symmetrical look, but in my not so humble opinion, is the best part of the pizza. After you've had all of the sauce, the cheese, and all the other ingredients. It cleanses your palate to jump right back into all of those flavors. Very similar to like thinly sliced ginger you eat after sushi. It prepares your tongue for the experience all over. And without a doubt, DiGiorno wipes the floor with its competition. The cheese, salty and stringy. The sauce, slightly sweet but with a hint of tomato. And the pizza coming out of the box just looks pristine. Now, it wasn't perfect. The really only downfall to DiGiorno is the crust. I mean, the bottom is like overly crunchy, but inside still kind of doughy. It really wasn't my favorite, but it was still the best compared to like all the others. So when you're walking down that chill aisle on Friday night and eat a pizza, go for DiGiorno. It's the best you can get. And no, I promise you, they are not paying me to say this. Okay, now that is out of the way, how do we make it better? To answer that, we need to know what these companies do to keep their food from deteriorating before it gets to the grill. And the first, is obvious. It's frozen, right? They freeze it, and that makes sense. And we can't really do much about it. However, they also throw chemicals and potato starch on the cheese and the other ingredients to really help it stay what it was in the factory when it gets to you. Now, what does that really mean for you? Well, it really means two things. Probably not the healthiest to ingest copious amounts of these chemicals into your body. But second, at least and most important for me, is it changes the flavor and textures of the ingredients. And let's face it, that is what is really stopping frozen pizza from being as good as your local pizza place, slinging you fresh pies. So how do we remedy this? You start by only buying the cheese versions. And please don't get sucked into this pizza has 20 kinds of cheeses. No, that's marketing. Okay, you won't be able to tell once it's cooked what kind of cheeses are, even if they are 20 cheeses. They're just trying to sell you. That's all they're doing. But the reason why we're sticking with only cheese is so we can add other fresh ingredients on top of that. Okay? And this is the best, fastest way to get a better version. Next, we are going to make a garlic infused olive oil. Now this is really simple. Take some cut up fresh garlic, throw that into some olive oil into a pan, and cook on very low heat until the garlic flavor just oozes into the olive oil. And the best part is you can make this weeks ahead, days ahead, doesn't matter, whenever you want it. And that way, it's ready for all those lazy frozen pizza Friday nights. Then you grab yourself some real mozzarella. The stuff that's actually floating in brine water. Once you've tried real mozzarella, it will be hard to go back to that shredded potato starchy fake stuff. It's not fake, but it's not good. Then you grab yourself some high quality pepperoni, the stuff that has not been sliced. You can get this at your deli, but you have to ask for thick cut. This is very important. Thick cut pepperoni is the only way to have pepperoni curl while cooking. Gets it all crispy on top and on the edges, and it's holding its own cooked juices in it. The good stuff. Place the thick cut pepperoni on it, the fresh mozzarella, and some of the basil with the garlic infused olive oil on the crust. Pop that in the oven and, follow the box instructions. And I promise you, you're going to have a phenomenal, fresh tasting frozen pizza. I would even wager that with these modifications, you could fool guests thinking it was fresh pizza, but it's actually frozen. You have the creamy, salty, stringy, fresh mozzarella. You have the beautiful, crispy, cup sliced pepperoni. sweet, nutty garlic from the olive oil, and the bright, clean black pepper with a bit of mint notes at the end from the fresh basil. I'm salivating even thinking about it. And now really think about it. When you get a frozen pizza, it's because it's fast and convenient, and I don't blame you. I do it all the time. But with these modifications, they're really easy, they're fast and simple. So you won't be adding much work to your lazy Friday night's pizza. You still get your fast, delicious meal. And that's really what this is about, getting the best fast, delicious meal. Well, that should do it for you this episode, Kitty Go Boom. I hope this has started your journey on taking those frozen pizzas and taking it 1 to maybe 3 steps above what you normally do. And keep an eye out for the next pizza. Thank you for watching. Please visit my blog for the recipe. The link will be down below. As always, check you later.